Facebook is funding the fight against deepfakes and manipulated media in its latest effort to help newsrooms around the world. The tech giant is teaming up with Reuters.
The international news agency has developed an online course aimed at educating journalists about media that's been altered to appear real. Facebook is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring the course to newsrooms next year. Axios media reporter Sarah Fisher took a closer look at this new initiative. It is part of her weekly newsletter, which is out today. And Sarah joins us now from Washington. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good morning. So
listen, Sarah, this program, Anne-Marie and I were looking at it and we're like, okay, we know how to spot fake news. It's not, are reporters the problem here, or is it the general public that is going to have a difficult time distinguishing what is real and what is not?
Well, I think both, but also something to remember is that you are coming from a large national newsroom in New York City where you have tons of resources at your disposal. You've probably spoken to a lot of reporters about deepfakes and are covering it at length. Think about local reporters in developing countries who might not have the same know-it-all about how to manage deepfakes and what to look for. This course is not just aimed at folks in the United States, but it's aimed at people around the world. And so I think that, yes, you might look at the course and say, all right, this seems pretty basic, but for a lot of people it's not. And you know, I was reading through it and there were some fascinating things I picked up on. So for example, it says, take a look at the sun position in videos and photos. That's one of the easiest ways to tell if something has been doctored, if shadows don't match where the sun is coming from. Those are helpful tips.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And okay, so that makes sense.
Give us a little bit, that's a really good tip. So give us sort of a snapshot of what the program entails.
So it's a three-piece program. It's available for free online, and it takes about 45 minutes to complete. The first part essentially says, look, 90% of fake news, manipulated media is not necessarily deep fakes or, you know, altered images using technology. It's just people misinterpreting video or misinterpreting photos. So for example, throwing a photo up there but misidentifying who is in it or what the context was of that photo. So that's the first part. The second part is actually explaining what a deep fake is and how you identify it. So one of the easiest ways to identify deep fake is to look through the metadata, the actual photo or video content footage to see if it's been altered. And then the third part of it is what can newsrooms do to help spot this stuff and help stop it from being spread. And I think the biggest takeaway is be really vigilant about your sourcing. Ask where the video came from. Ask how you know that the content of it is true. Ask who's in the video. And if you can get the answers to all of those questions, you're much less likely to air something that is incorrect or false.
So I do have a question, though, because your point about international press and those in countries where perhaps press freedom isn't what we enjoy here in the United States will find this beneficial. On the other hand, the millions and millions of people and the billions of megabytes of information that are available on Facebook and other social media platforms, which are fake, which they have said that they don't intend to police in the same way when it comes, for example, to political ads. I wonder if this is Facebook trying to do a little bit of PR here and saying, look, yeah, we want people to recognize these fakes when, in fact, your site is where the majority of those of that fake stuff appears.
I think it's a huge PR initiative for sure. I mean, Facebook has poured $300 million into its Facebook journalism project. This is a part of that to essentially make good with the news industry. I think what you're talking about, though, hits at the heart of Facebook's issue, which is that Facebook is very good at determining whether or not something is manipulated. What they're not good at is determining whether or not they care to distribute it or stop it. They haven't really been able to strike a solid balance about where they stand on these types of issues. And I actually call that out in the piece. One of the core examples is the doctored Nancy Pelosi video. Facebook was really slow to take it down. Once they finally did acknowledge that it was manipulated video, they said they weren't going to remove it from its platform. Nancy Pelosi responded. Everyone criticized them for it. And then this course says that that's exactly the type of thing you need to be on the lookout for as a newsroom. And so I think that you're hitting the nail on the head here, which is that Facebook is in a little bit of a contradictory position. They want to help newsrooms spot things that could be untrue, but they themselves don't want to be the arbiters of whether or not untrue things can and should exist on its platform.
But should they get some credit? Because, you know, Vlad, you said that the majority of this stuff is on Facebook, but there are so many other platforms that, you know, specialize in deep fakes where you can really find a lot of this stuff, and they're not being called upon to do any sort of public service.
True. Yeah.
Facebook is using a values-driven approach to determine whether or not they're going to have this stuff on its platform and how they're going to surround it. Like, for example, they actually have been fact-checking and debunking manipulated video on its platform. They don't think they should necessarily delete it if it doesn't violate its content rules, but they want users to know more information about it. And to your point, Anne-Marie, that's much more transparent than some of these fringe internet platforms. Think about a 4chan, where nobody's debunking it or fact-checking it. I'll give you my thought bubble on this. Where it can be the most damaging is when news networks or people with major followings are the ones that are distributing this content. Facebook at least can do stuff to downrank it, to de-emphasize its spread. But when Donald Trump tweets out manipulated video of Nancy Pelosi, or when it airs on a big national news network, there's no filtering it. There's no stopping the spread of it. It goes to millions of people. I think when it comes to deepfakes, that's actually your most damaging play, when people use them, weaponize them for political misinformation at a much larger scale.
So let me ask you one final question, because you're sort of up to your neck in this sort of stuff. This is what you do. I mean, how concerned are you as we move into the 2020 election that this sort of stuff, this manipulated video, will continue to be a problem heading into the election?
People ask me this all the time, and I say this year, whenever something came up like this, I had so many forensics experts texting me, you know, flagging me on Twitter saying, hey, I broke down the metadata of that video. That's, doctor, this happened with the Jim Acosta video where his arm looked like it was coming down on an intern's arm. We were able to debunk it pretty fast. My concern is that we're going to have so many of these come out into mainstream that A, we're not going to have enough experts to debunk all of them in real time before they can spread, and B, they're going to continue to get even better, so it's going to get harder for experts to be able to determine what this looks like. I think ahead of 2020, it looks like it's pretty manageable for now. Where it's going to become even more problematic is when we have faster internet with 5G that could spread this stuff so fast that it's hard to fact check it in real time.
All right, Sarah Fisher, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.